My Brother, Bradley. Chapter 1. How long has it been since I last thought of him? A few weeks? Months? Years even? I can hardly remember anything anymore, since time always seems to elude me further with each passing day. From the day I was born, my mother and father had always told me that our lives are governed by three aspects: money, mystery, and time. We don't understand how or why they work the way they do, and all we can do is accept them as part of our reality. Money dominates our physical world. It gives us the things we crave most and drives our most primitive, monstrous urges. People will kill for the sake of money. It's sickening, really. Humanity always giving way to the dollars and coins. Every morning I used to turn on the news and hear some gruesome report of yet another murder or robbery, with casualties stacking up like orders at the kitchen window of a bustling diner. The motive is the same every time. Someone always does it to get some money they feel they're entitled to. They're planning to use that money to get more drugs or alcohol, no doubt. It's an endless cycle. Money was essential to survive in my house growing up, just as it would be in any other middle-class home. We always had bills of all types to pay: water, electricity, credit cards, and car repairs, to name a few. But the strange thing about the bills, though, was that no matter how much money Mom and Dad put into them, they always seemed to come back demanding even more. We weren't as rich as some families in the neighborhood, so I didn't have a lot of nice possessions growing up. Dad taught me the value of a dollar when I was a child, but I never really understood how important it is to save up one's money until I got my first part-time job when I turned 16. That was the time in my life that Mom insisted I take control and fund my own life and future instead of using her money to do so. My education, my property, my insurance, all of that became my responsibility. But ever since I started making my own income, and to this day I still don't care much for money despite how essential it is to surviving in this society. I don't care about having the latest modern appliances or fancy gaming systems, high-definition flat screens, or driving a fast car. There was a time when I wanted those things, but I haven't felt that way since I was 18 years old. I only see money as a weapon to combat life's curveballs and nothing more. The fact of the matter now is that money can't explain what drives my passion. It can never fill the void of the things I love most. Money may rule the world, but it doesn't rule me. Mystery is an aspect that explains itself. No person alive can understand or explain it. Why humanity is left without answers to all of its questions, be they stupid or philosophical, is something I believe only certain sentient beings know. Why is time travel not possible? Why do our cars still drive along the ground instead of soaring into the air? Why do people live at all if they're always meant to die eventually? I believe not in a god per se, but rather in the idea that there are people out there who have all the answers, and we just haven't met them yet. Come to think of it, we probably never will meet them. These are spirits who live beyond our reach, sight, and comprehension. They toy with us in our way of life. I don't believe in karma or the idea that everything happens for a reason. I believe that things happen because certain people decided our fate long ago, and we are simply pieces falling into place. I've received quite a few strange looks in my time for such theories, but I don't have to care about the skeptics because if those beings didn't exist, they wouldn't have taken from me what I deemed most precious of all in my life. Maybe those unreachable beings decided long before my time as to how I was truly able to grow from such a miserable pile of secrets, emotions, and memories into a wholesome being once again. Or maybe I've known the reason all along and have kept it locked away inside my proud veteran heart so that those who are incapable and unworthy of understanding my journey will never get the chance to shatter the foundation on which I stand. Too mesmerized by the fake smile I wear every day to fool their wandering eyes and deprive them of the truth about what I know. But I'll probably never meet these beings and ask them if my fate was their handiwork. Maybe it's better that I banish that theory of manipulative destiny from my mind long ago, along with the other remnants of the aftermath. Or maybe it's the last piece I have to the puzzle I'll spend the remainder of my life trying to complete in vain. Time is the only aspect of my life that really ever meant anything to me, simply because it was the only element that has proven itself capable of hurting me. No doubt those beings use time as a means of molding me from the happy-go-lucky child of yesterday into the strong, well-informed man that I am now. It astounds me how little people value time these days. One day a married couple basks in the joy of raising a newborn child, and yet overnight that infant blossoms into an independent, obedient member of society and loses its identity entirely before having the opportunity to question how it happened. Summer chills into fall, freezes into winter, and melts into spring before you can even think about what day it is. People of all kinds come and they go without staying as long as you'd like. But memories are eternal. Astoundingly, no matter how much the world around you and the people who inhabit it seem to change with time, your memories stay the same. Sadly, memories only stay with you as long as those moments in time that once called themselves the present really meant anything to you. You'll only remember important memories or ones that make you feel something. If a memory can't do that, it won't be long before you forget it and it's lost forever. As I sit here alone in my small suburban apartment in Lanston for the first time in 8 years, I think back upon my life and all the things I can and cannot remember after having been cut off from society for so long. I do remember my old childhood home, my parents, and the room I had, and the moments of sheer happiness and despair that I felt over the years. Unfortunately, I seem to have forgotten a great deal in the time I was away. I don't remember much of my time as a toddler, though people rarely do, I suppose, and I can't remember what my grandmother looked like before she passed away when I was an infant. I lost most of the old memories associated with my childhood friends, but not all of them. Even though attempting to recall their last names has proven to be a formidable struggle for me, unless I give it a few days of intense thought, it isn't impossible to remember. Trying to recover such nostalgia in its entirety is pointless though, since the homes my old friends used to live in have long since been abandoned after they grew up and moved away, so I don't bother trying to track down the past at its source of origin. There isn't much of an origin to speak of now, come to think of it. It seems like everyone departed from that neighborhood. People moved out or passed away, yet no new neighbors ever really came in to take their place. As if my childhood suburb was stricken with a curse of foreclosure after I grew up and moved to Lanston. I have little memory of the school I went to as a kid, since most of the memories I have left have little to do with my time there. If I were normal, I would envy those who can remember so much more about their lives, pointless memories or not, than I can of mine. But then again, I'm not normal. Normal is a word I haven't used to describe myself in what feels like centuries. If I told anyone of how little I can actually remember before the incident happened, they would assume I've suffered some sort of amnesia. I suppose that wouldn't be too far off as an assumption. Something did happen to me 8 years prior, and I've since then walked away from the event, thinking and feeling as a different man. I don't consider myself a victim of memory loss, though. No, the condition I have differs greatly from anything people could ever understand. I can't remember as much as other people these days because, over the years, I have carefully chosen the memories I want to keep and have done away with the rest. The memories I cherish are the ones that have taught me to smile, to laugh, to cry in joy and in pain, to learn, to care, to hate, and to grow. But the memories I hold closest to my heart and to my soul are those that I have left of my dear little brother, Bradley. In many ways, Bradley was the greatest thing to happen to my life. He was my source of infinite joy, my inspiration, my shelter from life's miseries and disappointments, and the first of the very few people in this world whom I have ever truly loved. Bradley was more than just a safety net for my failures or someone with whom I trusted all of my secrets. Bradley was my brother. I felt and experienced things with him that I will never share with anyone else in quite the same way, or I may never feel again. Bradley is the only reason I hadn't quite given up faith in humanity or in the hopes of finding a worthwhile purpose for living until I could gather the strength to search for that purpose myself. Needless to say, Bradley wasn't always perfect or angelic. I can recall quite a few occasions where he annoyed, frustrated, or embarrassed me. It took me so long to appreciate Bradley, and even longer to appreciate myself. But by the time I finally started to bond with my brother, it was just too late. I look back upon my life and think about how much more I wish I could have done for Bradley. He had done so much for me, more than I could ever hope to repay him. I'm no puppet to the mistakes or misfortunes of the past, however. I could lose everything at this moment and drop dead without a single shred of regret. The journey up to now was well worth it thanks to Bradley. He never changed, and I wouldn't dream of changing a single part about our time together. But the more I think about my brother and how much joy he brought me, the more I can't help but remember my greatest regrets. It goes against my better conscience to scold myself for aspects I can no longer control, but I've learned to accept them as reality. They help shape my life alongside the good memories, so they're still worth acknowledging, just not dwelling over. I remember how much I suffered over the years, all the mistakes I made, all the hearts and promises I've undoubtedly broken. I nearly lost my will to live once upon a time. In many ways, Bradley's the only reason I'm still alive at all. If he had never been born, my life would have lacked meaning, and it's because of him that I eventually recovered my strength and lived for as long as I have. But no matter what I feel, no matter how or when I die, no matter what I can or cannot remember about my life now, I know that my story is real and is mine to change in the future. It is engraved into my very being as something only I can ultimately possess and appreciate, as is my memory of Bradley.